All right, gonna go ahead and do a 200-mile update here. As you can see, I'm at 245 miles. Overall, the bike has still seemed pretty good. I know everyone's asking about the range and like the range update in a couple videos, and I kind of did post and made a post yesterday about it. But basically, for the range test that I did do before I got and made the low voltage battery test video and charging video, I got roughly about 45 miles, and that's with pass 3, basically no pedaling, basically gunning it the whole time as much as I could within my skill level. But I mean, I was going from dead stops, doing little burnouts in the dirt and everything else, and riding pretty much as hard as I normally and possibly could for that day. And so about 45 miles. Now, I'm assuming here that if you probably do like a lot of pass mode or cruising and going like downhill and not doing a lot of crazy stuff, I think I can fully see, 60 to 80 miles of use, but like I probably won't be able to validate that. It's just not the way that I generally ride the bike. So thought I'd update you on that. As you can tell too, the other day I put on these WIG Racing tires. These tires are actually like super good. They quiet down the bike quite a bit. They ride very well on the street, and they weren't overly expensive, about 45 bucks a tire on Amazon. So overall, super pleased with the tire and everything else along with them. So I can at least tell for how much I've ridden them that the wear is going to be quite a bit less, at least on the street, than the stock tires. Also, I wanted to show you the stock tires and how much they wear down. So let me get these real quick. But if you can see here that the tires have quite a bit of wear. The right one is the rear tire, and it's almost flat. I mean, the nubby is more than half gone compared to the middle nubby on the front tire. The front tire was still in pretty much like very good condition, but the rear tire, I mean, at 200 miles is, yeah, more than halfway gone. I think at 400 miles or less, you'd probably be down to the base rubber layer. So again, these tires, stock tires, I don't think that they're very good. I think that they handle pretty good in off-road. For the street, I've almost kind of slipped out taking a very tight turn before, and clearly they wear out pretty fast. So super worth the upgrade for the better set of tires. I think that these WIG Racings are supposed to be kind of clones of the Shinko tires, maybe the 241s if I recall, but these were pretty quick and easy to get, so that's why I got them. All right, so for the biggest update, and this is something I commented, I think in another video, take a look at that, right? So this is the taillight, and it's gone. And I did cut the wires to just make them flush, so, whenever I press the brake or the blinker or anything else, or, I'm not using the blinker anymore, clearly, because it's off, but the brake, that, there's no voltage that can ground itself out in those wires. But I did absolutely destroy that brake light. And some of you might be thinking, oh, it's because you put the new tires on. No, this actually happened 2 days before I got the new tires mounted. This is with the stock tire. And in my other video, or maybe one I'm about to release, I'll make a comment about it, but I did strike that on the tire a handful of times. And that's even with the suspension set all the way, like all the way tight, right? I'm 5'6" and 165 pounds, and yeah, I was getting contacting. So I don't know, I'm assuming here if this is the same shock that was on the X2 Pro. I assume the frame sizing is probably about the same. I don't have a bike to compare it to. But again, I was noticing striking early on, and eventually I took a kind of like a drop, like from this like kind of curb. It wasn't even a significant drop, and I totally bottomed out the tire and destroyed that brake light, and I didn't even know it was gone till I actually looked back there. So I did reach out to Freego and the dealer. They are sending me a new taillight, but here's the thing, like, even if I install the new taillight, what would I do? Put it back in the same spot for it to rip off? Like, I don't know. And I don't know if you can tell, but this bracket is also bent. I'm fairly positive it's bent. I'm fairly positive it wasn't angled like that when I first had the bike, but Again, like I don't know, and like I'm not going to install that brake light back in the same stock spot because basically it's just going to rip itself off. Like this is just a failure of design, and maybe, you know, maybe the weight of this bike or the person riding this bike should be adjusted. Like I'm not sure what kind of testers that they had to do this kind of stuff, but when I noticed it off the beginning, it was clear as day. And again, I'm not huge by any means. I'm 165 pounds, so yeah. Maybe they need to rethink the shock situation, the spacing. But basically what I'm gonna do is I do a lot of 3D printing, and I'm going to probably take some measurements on these crossbar areas and move the light back. The bracket is welded on right here, so I can't really move the bracket. I guess you could probably angle grind it off and move it, but that probably wouldn't be worth your time. Yeah, I'm gonna probably design a bracket that goes probably somewhere in here and mount the light in a new spot, because there's 0% chance that I'm putting it back in the stock spot. Yeah, this guy is seemingly getting more flimsy. I think I have this habit of constantly trying to hit this when I'm moving the bike. I'm kind of debating on like taking it off. It is nice because it has prevented me from getting a lot of this mud flapped up on me when riding in some of the mud dirt zones, but yeah. The other thing is when I did change the tires, it kind of was a pain in the ass. There's no way to quickly disconnect the hub motor, you know, and the wires go all the way under here, into here, and then into the controller. And like, there's no quick disconnect. I mean, maybe it is wired. I did kind of undo this so I could see it all, but it looked like such a pain to get through and undo some connections to try and get it, that I sort of changed this tire by laying the bike down on the side, taking the tire off, and this is all by myself. I don't have a bike stand either, and kind of pulling it out. You have to undo all these zip ties. It was a major undertaking, major pain in the butt. So I'm hoping that these tires do last a bit longer than those tires over there. The front tire wasn't that bad, kind of standard front tire stuff, sort of similar to a bike. I will say that the manual is not accurate in what it's telling you to do. The manual seemingly is referencing maybe a different bike or a different kind of mounting system, but very little of it is actually specific to the X3, so I'd probably critique Freego on some of that manual informational. But yeah, still having a lot of brake school issues, and yeah, even when I changed the tires, I cleaned the rotors completely, lightly sanded them, you know, used some 100%, 99% IPA, took the brakes out, took the brake pads out, sanded the brake pads, retightened everything, you know, or actually set them loose, spun the tire, hit the brakes so they would kind of set, the calipers would set. And I still get squealing. I mean, there's almost nothing I can do. And I really think that that front rotor one is either a little bit offset or not machined correctly, because it kind of spins like out of like its circular, you know, radial spinning kind of thing. It definitely has like a little bit of like machining out of tolerance. The other thing is, even though when I sit here and, you know, spin the tire to make sure that the calipers and the brakes don't hit to get the brakes set up correctly in position, the rotors, I think, warp under a lot of braking and heat. And that's probably pretty standard across most bikes, but it's pretty, I wouldn't say egregious here, but it's so much that then the rotor starts contacting the brake pads more significantly, like through some portions of even cruising and the ride. And the last thing is, or maybe the last thing is the chain. And so I try to do my best to adjust the chain. Obviously, you know, as I said in the last video, it doesn't have any gears, right? It's just singular gear. And so there's really no adjustment I can make to this. So generally what I would do, or at least what I would think I would do on bikes, is actually pull the whole rear axle farther back to kind of add some tension to the chain, right? And so, but the thing about that is whenever you do that here and you pull it far back, right? It does have this one alignment piece right here with these bolts, these 3 bolts. for this side, but there is holes on the other side, or tapped holes for the other side, but this bracket is only on this side, so it's harder to align the rear tire. But if you pull the tire farther back to maybe put some chain tension or put some tension on the chain, you end up pulling the actual rotor farther back, and you get less bite on your brake pads. So I've been thinking about maybe pulling it back a little bit more. I mean, I did pull it back when I initially mounted the tires just to get a little bit more tension on the chain, but it's pretty close to the stock amount because I didn't want less bite on the brake pads to the actual rotor itself. But yep. And then I will say, that's probably the last thing. I got no other big issues. Maybe the one other thing is this battery. I think that when I was trying to pull it out one of these days, like if you don't put it in, perfectly kind of straight and sort of aligned with this wall, it doesn't actually fit in perfectly. And if it doesn't fit in perfectly, you can tell because right here will be up a little bit. And you have to kind of look down here to make sure the battery is set in. And, obviously it has this little adjustment guy so you can kind of push the battery in, but really it's just to hold the battery in when it's good. If you find that you have troubles when you're trying to get this battery set in and this door won't close, it's because your battery is not in all the way. And, I consider myself relatively strong for my size. It is a bear to pull this thing out. You will probably not be pulling this thing out hardly ever. Probably when you're working on the bike or doing anything, but good Lord, this thing is probably 40 pounds and trying to pull it out with one hand. I basically can lift up the whole bike when I'm trying to pull this out. The bike hops and it's very much stuck in there. Just make sure that you're taking this guy out, but I would definitely plan to not take the battery out too often unless you actually have some help or you're, decently strong in that sense. But other than that, that's my 245-mile update. I'll be trying to make more ride videos, especially with these tires, which are pretty dope. And yeah, that's pretty much all I got for today. See you on the next one.